Hello and welcome. We are here. This is the Win Daily Show. It is the 7/27 MLB DFS Breakdown. I got my buddy Mitchell here. And Mitchell, I honestly forgot to ask you, how do you even say your last name? I have no idea.
It's like the sport. It's tennis.
No way. Okay.
Nobody.
Mitchell,
Yep. It's
wow.
tennis. Yep.
I have introducing you to people. I have been completely butchering that one. So we have Mitchell Tennis here with us. He is one of our DFS pros. He's hanging out with us for NBA coming up in a bit too. So we're very excited about that. But right now we're breaking down the 7/27 slate here on Win Daily Sports. Couple things, as you've probably already heard, about 13 Marlins players and coaches have tested positive for the coronavirus. So their game against the Orioles has been canceled. The Phillies and Yankees game has also been canceled because the Phillies were playing the Marlins this weekend. So it is pretty darn disappointing. So we had a 9-game slate, and it's now actually a 6-game slate because the Indians and White Sox has been postponed. So we're about 35 minutes from lock here. We're going to hang out with you for about 10-15 minutes, talk about some of the pitchers that we like, some that we don't, a couple of the stacks that we're looking at, especially now taking out some of these other teams, which is pretty disappointing, but we're ready to rock and roll. So Mitchell, you ready to get this?
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's get it, buddy. All right, let's hop in right into the pitchers. I mean, obviously, Mike Fultonevich is pretty expensive, and he actually is a very good friend of ours over here at Win Daily. Our friend Nick Bretwich. Fulty's actually standing in his wedding, which is pretty cool. So they're very good friends. So one of these days we're gonna get him on the show. But sorry, Nick, I think he's a little expensive today. So talk to me, Mitchell. How do you feel about some of these pitchers on the slate?
Yeah. Fultonevich. I heard the Braves are kind of being a little stingy on pitch count to start the season as well. So 10-3, probably. I'll probably stay away from Mike today. I'd rather go down to Lester. Josh James. Don't mind Glass now either. That's kind of where I'd probably stay. I might have Fultonevich in one lineup tonight.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta ask, being a Mets fan, I mean, how many percentage of your lineups are you gonna have Waka in, man? He's just, you have to, right?
He's. I'm gonna.
I'm kidding, by the way. I'm completely
No, but
kidding.
it's the Boston lineup is. I feel like the first half is strong, and then 6 through 9 is kind of a little bit iffy.
Mm-hmm.
Not definitely as good as deep as they once were, but
No, it's not.
yeah,
It's not great.
Waka won't get there for me either. Not
You
enough strikeouts there.
you take out Mookie Betts from a lineup, it becomes much shorter. And one that I actually find kind of interesting, and I'm a little curious how you feel about it, is Michael Fulmer, former Mets prospect in the United Cespedes deal. I mean, usually we're trying to pick on teams, in Kansas City and Detroit this past week were teams that we picked on, but now they're playing against each other. So how do you feel about him? And, but again, the potential that his pitch count's probably not going to get too high.
No, I don't. To start the season, though, I don't think any of these pitchers are. Fulmer, I like actually. With Kansas City still going to be as at least 10 strikeout a game team most nights. They swing and miss way too much. Fulmer at 6,500. I don't know if you need to get there with I like the 8K guys kind of more. Hauser, James, Glass now. Like I said, Lester. But if you could do Fulmer and Lester, and that would provide you with quite a bit of flexibility to get some nice bats in there as well.
Yes, absolutely. I always I try to make one lineup where I really pay down for pitching just so I can get all the bats. It
Yeah.
very rarely ever works, but it's
Right.
way more fun seeing Mookie and Cody Bellinger and Justin
Yeah.
Turner and Corey Seager in one lineup.
Just stacking.
If it's going off, it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's move on. And I know you and I spoke. You're not really you don't like to start with catcher right out of the gate. So who are a couple of the stacks that you're looking for? Again, now that we know we only really have a 6-game slate, the potential of the Cubs Cincinnati game also is kind of a little iffy right now with the rain out. Who are you looking at right now to potentially build a nice stack around?
As long as the Cubs game doesn't get rained out, I don't mind the Cubs facing a lefty. Mostly they're righties, Chris Bryant, Javi, and Wilson Contreras. So kind of 1-3-5. They all have ISOs over 300. Their wobas are all right around 400 or above. So I mean they hit left-handed pitching well. I know Miley had a good year last year compared to what he has been, and I like the Cubs against the lefty. Houston's going to be very popular. I mean, especially now with the postponed games and the canceled games due to COVID and rain. Houston, they're going to take up a huge chunk of today's ownership. But how do you How do you avoid a team that's facing a
Exactly.
pitcher that didn't pitch last year, and the last year he pitched, his ERA was 7? I mean,
7.
it's you can't. You're gonna just have to have some of Houston players tonight. I feel like it's just kind of an inevitable thing.
And we can see Kyle Tucker is starting today. You can kind of slot him in right there at first base. Touted prospect for the last, it feels like 100 years, but I guess he is finally there. You also have Yuli Gurriel at 3,700. And one that I'm a little curious about is, as you said, you kind of like, potentially pitching Lester. But I know one of our guys here, Brian Tulloch at Tulloch Sports, he always fades Lester and he always tries to hammer as many bats as he can against him. With this Cincinnati lineup being as potentially potent as it is, unfortunately, Mike Moustakas is out with COVID, it seems like, or at least the precautionary taking him out there. Nick Senzel as well. Are you interested in maybe a couple shares of a Cincinnati stack there?
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of right-handed power. I mean, you got Eugenio, the new acquisition of Castellanos, and I'm going to botch this, but Aquino, Aristides Aquino.
Beautiful.
He
absolutely gorgeous.
He's shown a lot of power. They said he struggled quite a bit lately in the summer camp or whatever, well, however you want to word it. But I mean, he showed a lot of power last year when he was called up too. So I mean, I don't hate that either. I'll definitely have a red stack with them righties. Probably Suarez, Castellanos, and Aquino would probably consist of my red stack. Maybe even Kyle Farmer. That's kind of interesting at 29.
I was going to say, you're probably paying down way for him. So if we're looking at Cincinnati, we're looking at the Cubs. As you said, if we pay down for that pitching a little bit, it's pretty easy to get Anthony Rizzo in there. We don't really want the left-handed Joey Votto against the left-handed Scherzer. I mean, granted, Joey Votto is, on another level, and he's already hit a home run off a left-handed pitcher this year, which is pretty interesting. But his price has already jumped. I mean, only a couple days ago, you hit him at 3,200. Now he's at 48. Might be a little expensive there, so we'll see what happens.
For a guy that's usually going to get you singles and walks.
Exactly.
RBIs
so
here
might
and
be
there.
a little difficult there. So now we're looking at second base, as you said. You can grab Jose Altuve at 5K, which is not too bad of a price considering who he is and what he does. But is there anybody else here on the second base list that you're looking at maybe to take a flyer on and maybe really try and build one of those specific stacks around?
Yeah, I like a Brewer stack as well a little bit facing Brault. I like Keston. He started the season at, 5K or 52, something outrageous. And now he's come down to 44 a little bit. So I like him. I don't mind Nico. I like the Tigers. I like the cheaper Tigers a lot more just because with trying to get Astros and Cubs in, you're going to just have to pay down somewhere. And I probably won't have Goodrum, but I do like the Tiger stack. And then Caesars canceled. We said before, I like as much. I don't hate Robinson Cano. I don't hate him.
Man. Get it out there. Let the world take you down. Me as a Mets fan, don't worry. I will remind you. I promise you. I will remind you later tonight when they're down 14-1 again. I'll remind you.
Hitting 7th. He just keeps falling down in the order the later he gets in his career, but he's a low strikeout guy. He's going to make contact most of the time. I like a Mets stack against Godley. He's lacked control. He's got a high walk percentage. His contact percentage is 76%.
Let's just say he's very bad. I think that's a great place to leave it. He wasn't on the team as of like 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and now he is.
And he was cut by Detroit, if that tells you anything.
That tells you something, exactly. I mean, looking down this list a little bit, as you said, Jordy Mercer in a very cheap Detroit stack. Maybe you can throw a couple guys in there to see what you can get in there.
Right there was one of my cheap guys, so you just scrolled to him. Jonathan Scope.
Yeah.
I love him against lefties, right-handed power. He's one of my cheap guys tonight if I'm not probably playing Altuve at the top of the second base.
I love it, man. That's a nice place to pay down. And even Jose Peraza, he had a incredible opening night and it's kind of fallen off a little bit. I think he scored 0 points yesterday, but again, Waka's bad.
And he was crazy owned yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, what he did a couple days ago, it's not too
Right.
surprising, but you can get Peraza at second or short, and depending on if you are trying to create a little bit of a Boston stack again, Michael Wacha is not good. There's a reason why the Mets signed him, and it's because he's not good. So I think again, really easy way if you're looking at a nice Boston stack, he's a very, very great, a cheap option that you could potentially, high upside as we saw already. Now he's hitting in that 9 hole. As you said, the second half of the lineup's not super strong, but I think that there is a pretty good opportunity there for some of the guys. So let's hop over to third base. As we were talking about, a little bit of a Cub stack. You can grab Chris Bryant, a little bit of a Met stack. Jeff McNeil has been bad so far this year. He hasn't done anything. I mean, third base is a very, very expensive option. I mean, is there a particular stack where you are really looking to grab one of these third basemen in?
I like JD Davis a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I watched, which game was on TV? Mets game.
The one
Braves.
yesterday?
Braves.
Yikes.
No, Friday, I think it was.
Oh, okay. The DeGrom game. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, JD smashed some balls. He just was, I mean, he laced one to center that, and I think it was Enciarte made a
Yep. Rob the home
great
run.
catch on. And batting cleanup here, I actually am a fan of JD Davis, and I'm not even a New York homer.
We appreciate you, man, for coming over to our side a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's hop down the list. You already talked about Eugenio Suarez. There we go. I can get his name right. Against Leicester, it's an opportunity there. David Bodie, that game is still going on, so we'll see what happens against Wade Miley. Any of these cheaper guys that you're looking at? Maybe a Maikel Franco or something, or a Jed Jerko?
Yeah, I like Jerko against the lefty. He's definitely been a guy that shows he has power and in the big leagues, and I believe was hurt majority of the second half of last year, so didn't really get to. And then we said earlier, Kyle Farmer at 29. Don't hate him against Leicester, another lefty, and yeah, those would be my two pay down guys. Jerko's hitting fives too, so. That's a nice. I think
spot.
that's a nice spot. 2,800 hitting fifth.
Yeah, I mean, even Jordy Mercer as well, and Kyle Seager. I mean, not too many people are going to throw down some Seattle stacks, I don't think, but Kyle Seager's been on a tear to start the season. I think it's something like 5 for 11 with like 3 doubles or something. And so he's been crushing it.
James is probably going to be very high owned today. So if you want to totally be different in the field, the guy hasn't. He's shown he can get a lot of strikeouts, no doubt, but he's not. He's a relief pitcher. Right. He's not He's not fantastic. He's also struggles with command. I mean, if you want to be different in the field and try to go big or go home, a Seattle stack is probably going to be one of your ways to go today, because I would say James is probably at 25 to 30% owned tonight.
That's the way you got to get different, especially in these large fields. And I don't think there's any milli makers tonight. We got a little spoiled for a couple days. They were just throwing $1 million at everyone, but now I think it's starting to come down a little bit. I'm looking at the DraftKings. What is this? The 600, 100K to first place. So that's still not bad. So again, you're gonna have to get a little contrarian. You're gonna have to do some things a little different. And that's definitely a Seattle stack is a way to go. Again, I mean, going against one of the highest owned pitchers and, using the team against him, probably not going to happen too much. Definitely an opportunity there to get a little crazy. So let's look over at shortstop. As we know, Alex Bregman is dual eligible here on DraftKings. As you were talking about a potential Met stack, a Med Rosario at 5K to me just is absolutely insane. In no planet. Now I know Francisco Lindor isn't playing because that game's canceled, but in no planet should a Med Rosario be more expensive than Francisco Lindor?
Or Javi, in my opinion.
Yeah, or Tim Anderson, or Carlos Correa. I mean, literally, Xander Bogaerts. We could go down this list. So, I mean, anybody here from the shortstop position that you're really liking, especially on this higher end side?
I like Correa at 44, batting 6. I mean, the Astros is one of my favorite stacks simply because they have cheap players in that stack that are already there for you. I mean, Brantley, I don't know what DraftKings is doing, but 3,300, that's just way too cheap. And then you got Josh Reddick at 2,700, I think. So I mean, I like the Astro stack, and I like Correa to top it off at 6. And then, like you said, Javi smashes lefties. But for the top, that's probably where I'm going. Bregman, Javi, Correa are my top shortstops that I'll be rolling with today.
I love it. And then in terms of some of these cheaper owned guys, again, if you're trying to fit somebody in, or if you're trying to do something, as we said before, Jose Peraza still down there at 2,500. So I mean, we know he's starting. Obviously, he's hitting ninth, but again, you can get something. Any of these other guys, may, as you said, a Cincinnati stack, if you could snag Freddie Galvis at 3,400, any of these guys really do something for you?
I don't have a part of a stack down here. I kind of have more of a one-off here.
Mm-hmm.
Adalberto Mondesi at 35. He's facing Fulmer.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets on base, you always got a possibility of 2 stolen bases every time.
Yep, absolutely.
At 3,500, this was a guy that we saw at 5K last year, right around there. So I don't that as a one-off batting 3, I can get with that for sure. But yeah, other than that, Peraza is probably about it, and Nico Horner for cheap here to go with that Cubs stack.
Love it. Love it. And then let's rock and roll. A little bit more to go. So we were already talking about some of these outfielders. This is obviously one of the more important, one of the more stacked positions, as we can see right next to third base. So, I mean, you were talking about a Mets stack a little bit. Michael Conforto at 5K. He's been doing pretty well to start off the season. Little Cub stack. You got Kyle Schwarber potentially. I don't know if I want to face him against the lefty. I don't know. Kyle Schwarber is something else. But anybody else here, especially in this top half? I know you brought up Aquino as well, that you're looking at to potentially, build around?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got Springer up there as part of the Astro stack. He's probably one of the guys that I'm going to stay away from.
Okay.
In the Astro stack, just because it seems like when he hits his home runs, a lot of them are solo. And they're kind of, 54, I'd rather take the 4K Astros and try to get a little bit Cubbies in there too. But JD Martinez at 47, he might go underlooked today after he had one bad day. I mean, Conforto's one of my lefty. My computer froze.
Oh no!
I gotta look here now.
No, it's okay. Sorry.
No, we're good. Yeah, JD, Conforto are my main spend ups here. I'll probably end up with Springer in one, just with the Astro stack, and then you got Aquino and Castellanos both right there, 4 and 5, like we'd already mentioned.
Love it. Let's hop down a little bit. Let's see what some of this mid-tier looks like. Luis Robert looks like he's going to be playing tonight. That's great. Want to see one of the biggest prospects in the game. Brandon Lau has been absolutely killing it so far.
That game's postponed.
Oh, right? Atlanta, Tampa Bay. No, not yet.
Oh,
not yet. No, they're in Tampa Bay, so nothing to postpone unless somebody else pops up and sick.
I thought you said Luis Robert.
No, my bad. Oh no, I did say that. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Yes, that game.
That's why I was like, wait a second.
That game
Tampa
is canceled. Yep, and we'll leave those two guys off the board. So anybody here in this middle range, again, looking at Brandon Nimmo starting in the 9 spot, so 4,200 might be a little difficult. But anybody here in this mid range, it looks like it's a lot of Mets, Boss.
I actually like those 2 Brewers right there, to be honest. 2 righties against the lefty, face lefty, pitching well, excuse me. PNC isn't the greatest park, but I think the Brewers will be one of the stacks that are a little bit under-owned on this COVID weather shortened slate.
Yes. That's what we'll call it now. I mean, it's going to get weird all year, and that's why we want to do these beforehand, and we'll hop off in a couple minutes so everyone can go make theirs. And let's just look down. If we're going to pay down, you already brought up a couple guys. Again, Kyle Tucker's there. If you're looking at that Astros stack, a couple of these other guys, if we keep hopping down the list a little bit, where, Lorenzo Cain, if you're thinking about a Milwaukee stack, grab the guy at the top of the lineup. I think that's a pretty great way of doing it. He's pretty cheap right now at 3,700. And you also brought up, and I'm looking for him, but it's taking a freaking while to get there, Michael Brantley at 3,300. And we're looking at, where the hell is Josh Reddick even? Now he's even further down there at 2,700. So if you're looking at an Astros stack, if you get those 2 guys in there, you're obviously saving a lot of money. And if you want to get real crazy with it, throw in Michael Fulmer to one of those, so you're saving all the money, and then you can get Correa, Springer,
Yeah.
probably, and Altuve or Bregman, depending on
And
who you
then
want out of there.
you could
So
maybe even go to Rizzo. You could.
yep, yeah.
There's the fun part about tonight's slate is you still can do a lot of different things from as far as a lineup build standpoint and the way the pitching is set up now after all the postponements and stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. And then I guess let's as for outfielder, again, you can pay down in a couple spots, but it looks like, in my opinion, if you're gonna pay down anywhere, it's for those Houston players. That way you can grab the rest of your lineup pretty much however you would like as well. So let's hop over to catcher. Obviously there's we have 6 games. That means we have at least 12 catchers to pick from. This top one, Yasmani Grandal, is out, so not much to worry about there. Same thing with Roberto Perez, not much we can do there. But are there any of these one-off catchers that maybe if you can't fit somebody into a stack that you're looking at, maybe like a Salvador Perez or a Mike Duino?
Yeah, Salvador. He's way cheap. Way cheap at
2,900. Yeah.
I mean, I know we said that you can pitch Fulmer, but Salvador's probably the least strikeout prone guy in this lineup. So at 2,900, Salvador hitting 4, you could maybe even do I wouldn't mind a little two player stack with Adalberto and Salvador. I mean, 3,500, 2,900 saves you money, and you can roll the rest of your lineup with Cubs and Astros if you want.
Not bad. Not bad way to look at it. Yeah, not too much. And then, I mean, if you're really getting crazy, you really want to pay down, you can get Wilson Contreras' brother. He's had a couple hits against the Mets, now going up against Glass now, so it's going to be a little different, I'm assuming. It's not like, but yeah, if you really want to pay down for catcher and you only have a couple thousand left, you can go grab Wilson Contreras' brother, which would be interesting. So good stuff, man. I appreciate it, dude.
For
This
sure.
is great. Appreciate you. Mitchell Tennis, all of a sudden. Where can everyone find you on the internet?
I have Instagram at Mitchell Tennis, and my Twitter is Mitchell10. I don't know why it stopped at that, but it's THOENN1. And that's about it.
Sounds like Mitchell 11 to me. Yes, you can find me at Michael Raziel 1. Obviously, follow us at Win Daily Sports. Sign up for a gold package. It is only $20 a month, and you get all the articles. You get all the projection models. You get the expert chat where Mitchell gets to hang out with you and tell you about your lineups, what he likes, what he doesn't, along with all of our other incredible MLB DFS writers. And I mean, everything's coming back soon, so keep crossing your fingers, guy. But thank you all so much. Yes,
Saturday.
Basketball. Mitchell's got us in basketball too, so you'll be seeing a lot of his face, some more. So thank you all so much, and we hope you make it in the next 10 minutes a very, very profitable night.
Best of luck, everybody.